Morning, everyone. How are we? Hope you're all well. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay, please. If there's any dramas, we'll try and fix them up. What we got here? Sunday morning, the 6th of April. How quick is this year going, everyone? Unbelievable. All the normal suspects are on. Jack Turtle's bloody up. Chrissy Anderson, Timmy Ryan, Lynn Rogers. I thought you were in Cairns, Lynn, but you're not. You're down further south than me. Who else we got? Ray Muller, Jennifer G, Toddy, the pump koala there, Ray Muller. Did I say Ray? Where's Jace? I said Ray already, didn't I? Ty, how are you, mate? Going to mention you in a minute, mate. You and 8,000 other people who must have got your 5 minutes of fame with the new Ranger Superduty. Everyone, that same vehicle. Everyone, that same vehicle had their 5 minutes of fame with it. Pat Callanan and the auto expert and all those people, all bloody talking about that. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the Super Duty soon, guys. The range that'll be later in the clip. Ty's get on to Ty Fenwick's channel, guys. Ty Fenwick. You want to have a look at the new Ranger Super Duty, and that just seems to be obviously one's hit Australia, and they've opened it up to the media to start hyping it up, and everyone's on it. I've seen about 10 different people doing the clip on that same vehicle. Gaz, how are you, mate? I got your thing the other day too, mate. Did you send me a message or an email? I can't remember now. I'll get that many of them, mate. I can't remember. Anyway, so we'll get straight into the footy scores this morning, eh? Because we've got a lot to get through. Geez, there's a lot going on around the place, isn't there, everyone? Good and bad news. You know, we'll talk about the floods out West Queensland. We'll talk about the weather here. I took the Caravan out yesterday. We'll talk out to give it a clean out to get ready for camping season, and it's pissing down rain again. We had our one day of fine weather. We'll have another 3 weeks of rain. It is unbelievable up here, guys. It is just wears you down, the rain. Unbelievable. Mind you, we had sun yesterday, and it was friggin' hot. It was hot. It was a hot day. I'm sitting here with the aircon on now. So all you people down south are going, oh, it's starting to cool down. Not up here, she ain't. She's still hot. Especially when the sun's out. Bloody. I was thinking, I was camping, and then I thought, oh boy, it's still hot. You'd have to pick where you go camping, that's for sure. You've got to be by the water with some sea breeze. Because I think if you're inland at the moment, she'd still be a bit hot up here. Nathan's on, is he? G'day, Nathan. Lukey Alexander. Hope you all got a brew in your hand, everyone. This could be a long one. I'm warning you now. Now, listen. Daylight savings finishes today. Are you guys on normal time? It's 9:04 here in Queensland. Are you, or does it finish tonight? What's going on? Let me know what's happening with daylight saving. Are you back on to normal time, normal bloody Eastern time? You are. Okay, that's good. Okay, so it's not 10 o'clock down there. It's only 9. Good. Back onto the real time. So that daylight savings bullshit. They tried it once here. It was horrible. Back in the 70s. That's why we don't want it. Brisbane and the Gold Coast do, but no one else in Queensland wants it. Now, listen. Today is the day where myself and Marky Lavelle get to brag, everyone. Our footy teams had a win. Our footy teams have had a win. I've been talking to Marky via Messenger about the footy scores. Let's go through the rugby league scores, guys. Live streaming. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so Thursday night, really good game. Did anyone see the last try that Sebastian Chris scored? Wow, it was good to see Ricky Stewart on the sideline celebrating. I like Ricky. He gets down on the sideline with his players. He doesn't sit up in the box like Todd Payton, chewing gum and just showing zero expression. At least Bellamy shows some expression. Ricky's down on the sideline with the boys. I like that with Ricky. He's a good coach. So Thursday night, Canberra Raiders 24 beat the Sharkies 20. and Canberra threw the pill around and scored one of the best tries you'll ever see right on full time, guys. Gee whiz, it was a good one. 9:04 in Cockroach Country. Yep. That was a good game of footy, actually. Sharkies, I don't know, they might come good. They need to lift their game, but Canberra, really good win last night. And that Sebastian Chris, what a great player he is. Torres Strait Island lad. And I thought, he'd look good in a maroon jersey. And then I Googled him, and he played his first A-grade rugby league in New South Wales. So he'd wear a Blues jersey. Can you believe that? He's a Torres Strait Islander, but he's ineligible for Queensland. It's not where you're born, guys. It's where you play your first grade rugby league. Classic example, Peter Sterling, the greatest ever Blues player ever. Pete Sterling, he was born in Toowoomba, everyone, but he played his first grade stuff down in New South Wales, went on to become one of the best halfbacks ever, didn't he? Sterlo, fantastic. So then we go to Friday night, and this is where I come in, guys. My Cowboys, I would not have put any money on them. I thought they would have lost for sure. They got up and beat Penrith 22-18. Penrith's won the last 4 grand finals in a row, everyone. It's bloody Cowboys played well. They're showing a bit of spirit. They're showing a bit of ticker, and it was good to see. And how good was that tackle of Cohen Hess on Cleary right towards the end there? Belted him just as he was about to kick the ball. And what I hate about halfbacks, they've almost become protected species, haven't they? They're like crocodiles. You're not allowed to touch them. Protected species, can't touch them. I get it if they're in the ground and you can't take their leg. I get that. But Cleary still had the ball in his hands and he got belted. And I'm glad that they didn't find some bullshit rule to pull Cohen Hess up on there and go late tackle or tackle him in the air or whatever. They're still fair game. While the ball's in their hand and Cleary tried to kick it as he got tackled. But that was a good hit. And then Greg Alexander. Oh, that was a high shot. Bullshit. He got him halfway up the chest. If you don't get him around the ankles now, everyone's calling for a high shot. The game's becoming ridiculous. They're just watering it down too much now. Back in the day, if you went in with a swinging arm and targeted someone's head, fair enough. But now people are going in to tackle around the waist, the other player's slipping and then getting caught high because he slipped, and then that player's getting 10 in the bin for direct contact with the head. The game's going backwards, I think. Absolute bullshit. Anyway, go the Cowboys. Two wins in a row now, and I think next week we got the Rabbits down in Sydney. That's going to be a hard ask as well, but if we show a bit of ticker, we can beat the Rabbits as well. Speaking of Rabbits, they got up over the Roosters in the second game on Friday night. Latrell Mitchell was back. He didn't really do a lot of spectacular stuff, did he? He's just finding his feet still. Rabbits 20, Roosters 14. Always a good game, Rabbits Roosters, isn't it? Always. And then this is where Marky Lavelle comes in, everyone. Saturday, Parramatta 23. I think it was extra time, wasn't it? Beat the Dragons 22. 23-22. Who was that? Zach Lomax, I think, against his old club. Zach Lomax put a field goal over. So Parramatta had their first win of the year, and it's good to see these teams that hadn't had a win yet getting a win up. Give them some confidence. You don't want to see the teams down the bottom not winning. You just want to see mixing it up. Titans were disappointing. Titans against the Dolphins last night, guys. The Dolphins, fins up, towelled the Titans. I said the Titans were a good team. They're hot and cold. You don't know what team's going to turn up with the Titans. And the Dolphins did a job on them. 36-10. Titans were at home too on the Gold Coast. And then last night, I thought, the Tigers are going to give the Broncos a run, but ran out of steam. Broncos 46, West Tigers 24. So Tigers need Luai back, don't they? They really missed Luai last night. Maybe with him, they would have done a bit better. And then today's game, Paulie Martin's Manly Warringah up against the Storm. That will be a cracking game. We've got 2 good games on today. Manly Storm coming off a loss there, and they're away. So Manly need to bloody fire today to beat the Storm. And then top of the ladder, the Russ's Bulldogs, guys. Bulldogs versus the Knights. All you Knights supporters down there coming off a bye. So 2 really good games of rugby league today, which is fantastic. And I'm going to have a quick rant about rugby league. Not only are head-eye tackles bullshit now, I just think they're going a bit overboard with it. I'm all for protecting people's safety, guys, with head-eye tackles, but it's just going beyond the joke now. The other thing that pisses me right off, Marky, ORF, is the amount of forward passes that are getting away. Now, you can't blame the referee for that. Sometimes the referee is in the defensive line and he can't pick up forward passes. But there's 2 other diddly donks out there. That's their job. And they're called touch judges. And they're not doing their job. All I want to do is when the ball's getting played out towards, they want to run on and have a say to the players playing the ball. Get off the field and just do your job. Put your flag up when the ball goes into touch. And if there's a forward pass, put your flag up and let the referee know and go forward pass. They're not calling it. Too many forward passes getting away at the moment that are leading to tries, and it's not fair on the other teams. Forward, it's starting to become like rugby union. Oh, it was kind of flat, only a little bit forward. We'll end up like rugby union soon. Rugby union used to let forward passes go all the time. Rugby league's going the same. And right, Mark, some of them were blatant. And the trouble is, if it's a forward pass, the bunker can't review it and go, no, that was a forward pass. The bunker can't rule on forward passes. That's why the touch judges have got to bring it up. Remember that they were pretty quick to pull it up when the Cowboys scored against the Roosters that time when Jonathan Thurston went over in the semi-final when Louis, what was his name? Our halfback, the Torres Strait Islander guy, Louis, knocked the ball back. Thurston come through, scored, would have put us into the green final. Touchy. Forward. Bullshit, it was forward. That was a try and would have put us in the green final. That was when we got ripped off 3 years in a row in the semi-finals, and they were blatant. Another one was when Manly knocked Kieran Foran, knocked the ball forward, and they scored, knocked us out of the semi-finals. We had some really shit calls there. Melbourne Storm scored. No, sorry, it was Cronulla. Scored on the 7th tackle to knock us out of the semi-finals. We had some shocking calls back then. The old touchies, they were pretty quick to throw their flag up and go forward, and it wasn't even forward. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox now. Hey, guys, want to go on with some terrible news. And we'll get it out of the way because I don't want to finish on a low. We'll do it now. For anyone who attended the Legends for Charity camp last year, guys, I'm not reading your comments at the moment. Keep putting them up. Keep talking to each other. But I can't just sit there reading the comment. It just becomes a comment reading-a-thon, and I don't get through what I need to say. But chat amongst yourselves. I might put some what are they called? Polls up later. You'd be disappointed if I didn't run a couple of polls. When I think of something, we'll throw a poll up because I'm only on YouTube today. I'm not on StreamYard. Hopefully the sound's coming through okay. Yeah. Start complaining to the head office, people start walking. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry, mate. I don't care about Aussie rules. I don't follow it at all. I wouldn't even know who's winning, who's on top of the ladder in the Aussie rules. I just do not follow the game. Sorry, and I'm not trying to be funny there. I was brought up in Queensland, guys, and I was never brought up with Aussie rules. I just don't follow the game. It's like it's up there with soccer with me. I just don't follow it. And marbles. I'm a rugby league man through and through. Queenslander. There you go. Not long to Origin. Only a few more rounds, and we'll be getting into Origin territory. And then I'll stop picking on the Victorians, and I'll start picking on the cockroaches. But I'll wait till Origin time for that. That's when we go to war, during Origin time. Back onto the bad news, guys. For those who attended the Legends for Charity last year down at Goomburra Valley Campground, we raised something like $34,000 or something. It was incredible. The owners of Goomburra Valley Campground went above and beyond, Brad and Theresa, to make that a wonderful event. Some bad news this week, guys. Theresa Badgerie, her name was. Theresa had a massive stroke and died, passed away a couple of days ago. So our thoughts are with her husband, Brad, and all the family. They were grandparents, apparently. I didn't know Brad and Theresa well, only to say good day to them at the camp. But they are absolutely wonderful people. And they really, you could just see, you know, the fact that we were there supporting a couple of really good charities in their neck of the woods. Stunning campground, a wonderful place to run an event like that. Rob the Wanderer did an amazing job picking that place. I don't think you could have found a better place to run a camping charity event. It was incredible. Had a field kitchen and all that type of stuff. Really good. Theresa had a massive stroke, everyone. She went into palliative care and she didn't pull through. When you go to palliative care, g'day, Kane. It's not real good, is it? Normally things are crook when you go into palliative care. That's where you usually go to check out. That's where my dad ended up. They put him into palliative care and he was there for less than a day, I think, before Dad passed away. So rest in peace, Theresa, and our thoughts are with Brad and all the family. Absolutely terrible. And you know what? I'll get a bit serious here, guys. I'm not a real religious person, but I was brought up as a Roman Catholic as a kid. Went to some convent schools, Catholic schools, Christian brothers, and you know, I was brought up believing in God and all that type of stuff. I'm not very religious anymore. I like to think I'm still a Christian, but when you see good people like Theresa getting struck down like that, and I've been in my last job, I could pick another 860 people that should have gone before her. 860 shitbags that are no good to society that should have been struck down with a stroke or something, but they're not. He strikes down. It makes you question whether there's a God sometimes. And I know Gidgee Gorilla feels the same. He's given up totally on it. Me and Gidgee used to be an altar boy, guys. Can you believe that? When he was a young fella, Christian Brothers College, Gidgee was an altar boy. He used to walk out with a cross and all that type of stuff, dressed in his white cloak and that. Can you imagine that? When he was in primary school, he was an altar boy. We were religious back then, as a lot of us were going through school in the 70s and that. You know, if you went to Christian school, religious education was part of the curriculum at a Catholic school. And you're brought up believing in God and all that type of stuff. And then when you see shit like this happen, you start doubting your faith. And I'm a bit like that now too. I see little kids getting cancer and all that, and you think, is there really a God? Why is he striking kids down with cancer and good people like Theresa with a massive stroke when there's a lot of shitbags out there? But anyway, it's unfair, big fella. Exactly right. Anyway, I'm not trying to offend any religious people out there, guys, but I don't know. Shit like that happens and you just start doubting your faith sometimes. Not that I'm very religious. I'm like most of you there, probably go to church for funerals and weddings. That's about it. So it was terrible. You know, like she was I didn't know her real well. Rob the Wanderer knew her a lot better than me, and Steve Fuller and Rob Richmond and that knew Theresa and Brad a lot more than I did. But they were good people. They were just good people that worked hard. And Theresa's life got bloody ended too quickly, unfortunately. She was fit and healthy too, from what I could see. Like, you know what I mean? She fit. You just don't know. You don't know when your time's up, everyone. So try and make the most of it, eh? Try and make the most of your life, because you don't know when. None of us know when the end is. It could be tomorrow. It could be in half an hour's time, or it could be in 20 years' time. It could be in 50 years' time if you're young. I don't know. So make the most of it. So then I tried to get on Facebook. Rob put a GoFundMe up just to try and, she was in hospital in Brisbane, and Brad had to travel back and forward from Allara or Goombara Valley Campground to Brisbane, a couple of hours each way. So Rob did a GoFundMe to, you know, help Brad out with fuel and all that type of stuff. Expenses are keeping the campground going while he's down in Brisbane with Theresa. And So I thought, I'll just share the GoFundMe. All I did was share the link, guys, on the Buckaroony thing. Well, within half an hour, in come the scammers. It was pathetic. In come the scammers. And I had to just take it off my page. I got bombarded with potential scammers on there. It was bullshit. Unbelievable. So have a think about that. If you're going to do a GoFundMe, all the scammers must have some software that goes, oh, here's another GoFundMe. I'm in on this. Unbelievable. So just be careful when you raise GoFundMes. That's why when I do it, if I do some sort of charity, everything goes straight to my bank account, and every cent that goes into my bank account goes to the charity. GoFundMes, they're always after a profit. You do this stuff on bloody thanks stickers, or what do they call, super stickers and all that on YouTube, and 30% of that goes to Google. That's why they're rich. That's why they're a multi-billion bloody company. So that's why I always do it. I just go straight to my bank account, guys. So every cent goes to charity. I hate working my guts out so the big boys can take a cut. Pisses me off. It's like getting taxed. You know, you give me $10 and only 7 of it gets to charity if I go through these super stickers. And I just want to say also, everyone, if any of you see ads come up during these live feeds, let me know, please, because they shouldn't be. I do not monetize any of my live feeds because I know what a pain in the ass it is to get ads coming up on your computer during a live feed. So I never monetize my live feeds. So if you're getting ads, that's not my doing, everyone. It's bloody Google's who run YouTube, okay? So you shouldn't see any ads coming up because I do not monetize live feeds. So in no particular order, let's keep going through the shitload of stuff I've got to talk about this morning. We'll come across something that we'll do a poll. There's some good news. There's some bad news. We're going to talk about four-wheel drives, guys, the floods, all that type of stuff. We might as well go on to that now. March was the wettest March in far north Queensland in over 100 years. A lot of places up here got well over a metre of rain just for the month of March. Absolute bullshit. So yesterday sun was out. It was hot as. So I pulled the Caravan out. Pop the top, put the awning out, give it an air out, mopped it out with some nice smelly floor cleaner, wiped all the benches and all that type of stuff down, gave everything a wipe down because the dust and that gets in there. And I thought I'll leave it out overnight and I'll just keep it out tomorrow and keep tinkering and, you know, as you do, getting ready for the camping season. And it's raining again. We had one fine day, it's raining again. So now I can't pack the Caravan away or the awning and that goes mouldy. So, but that's the least of, well, not my worries, but what about the poor people out in southwest Queensland? The floods out there are unbelievable, guys. And they out around Windora and Thargomindah and all those places out in West Queensland, very flat out there. And when it floods, it spreads for miles. They tip something like 130 to 150,000 cattle have been drowned. So that's bad in itself. Poor bloody sheep finding some tiny little bit of high ground that's probably half a metre above the rest. And there's about 50 sheep huddled onto this little 10-metre thing so they don't drown the poor things. Dear oh dear, it's horrible to see, isn't it? So anyway, all that rain out there, well, out in Channel Country they call it, Bulloo River, and there's about 10 different rivers that had flood warnings. I'll tell you a story about the Bulloo River in a minute, out near Thargomindah, and it's hot out there and the flies are bad. I can vouch for that. A lot of that water eventually runs south, and you watch in about a year's time, Lake Eyre will be full again. All that water eventually runs down into South Australia and fills up Lake Eyre. Has anyone ever seen that? And when Lake Eyre fills up, it is incredible. The bird life and everything comes to life down there. And They reckon about every 10 years, Lake Eyre, which is below sea level, salt pans and whatever, usually no water in there, it fills up about once every 10 years. So my tongue's squeaking again. I know what it is. I had a hot bit of steak the other night. I burnt the roof of my mouth. I think there's a little bit of skin there that must have dislodged off the top of me roof of my mouth, and it's squeaking. It squeaks. I can hear it. You probably won't, but I can hear it. It's annoying when I talk. So yeah, the floods out there, the farmers, all the cattle losses and that, poor buggers. What's the price of beef go up? 130 to 150,000 head of cattle gone. And God knows how many sheep, poor things. Steve's on. G'day, Steve. How are you? Nathan, let's do some more shout-outs. Ray, great little town, Thargomindah. And the publican takes no shit from drunks, nor should he. Nor should he. They don't tolerate that crap in pubs anymore, do they? There was a good, I forget which pub it was. There was a big sign up, and it said, your first fight will be your last drink ever in this hotel. Absolutely. Because drunken arseholes get in there, start a fight, and then the police turn up. Next thing you know, you're getting a report through the liquor licensing branch because of a fight that's erupted in your pub. And you're sitting there trying to explain, and then they start, responsible service of alcohol. Why were there drunk people in your pub and all this type of shit? So the publicans have got to stamp that stuff out. The last thing they want is liquor licensing branch breathing down their neck because they've had an incident of a fight or something like that. Yeah. My mouth needs the correct lubrication to stop squeaking. It's a bit early, mate. 9:28, bit early for a beer yet. Yeah, so Thargomindah, way out in West Queensland, guys. Out not too far from the South Australian, where the northern South Australia, Queensland meet. It's out around there, but there's Birdsville, Thargomindah. We went on an exercise out there once, exercise hard yakka, 1986. And it was a volunteer thing. And we walked 120 kilometres with our packs, webbing and rifle from a place called a station, cattle station. There it goes again. That's annoying. A cattle station called Bullu Downs. We walked from Bullu Downs to Thargomindah. And the flies were that bad, everyone. To get any food in your mouth, you had to have two blokes with their bush hats waving their hats like that. Otherwise, you just got a mouthful of flies with your food. I've never seen flies like it in my life. People's their packs, you couldn't see any green on their packs. It was just all black from flies. You had to didn't have proper bloody fly veils back then. We had army stuff called scrim, and we used to put that under our bush hat and let it come down over our face. A few of them still get in, but the flies were incredible. Anyway, we came across the Bullu River, and we had to get across the Bullu River, and the only way to get across it was to swim. So this is the first, I've always practiced this during battle PT and that, but this is the first time and the only time in my 20 years in the army I actually had to do it. What you do is we all stripped off down to our undies, or in the nude it wasn't. We just all stripped down into the nude. You get your hood, you work in pairs, get your hoochie out, which is your big sheet of plastic that was like your shelter, and you put two packs and two sets of webbing and wrap it up and tie it up, and then you get the other bloke's hoochie and put it the other way and wrap it up, tie it up nice and tight. And then what you did is you put it into the water and it used to float. And then you put the two SLR rifles on top and you'd swim across the river, floating your equipment across. You get across the other side, drag it out, grab the rifles off the top, keep them dry, and open the hoochies up, and the packs and webbing inside would be dry, and then you get changed and continue on. So, yeah, I had to do that once, and, yeah, wrap all your gear up in hoochies and floated across the Bullu River, which is out there, one of the rivers that's flooding at the moment. Brown, murky, bloody horrible thing it was. So, yeah, but I'll tell you what, it was refreshing because it was about 40 degrees out there. The first day we were walking, it was about 40 degrees, and a few blokes went down with heat exhaustion and that. It was tough, and that's why it was called exercise hard yakka. It was tough work, guys. 120 kilometres with pack and webbing and rifle. We had live ammo. I'm out on point as the American. I was out on point. It was supposed to be a survival exercise, and we got to the last day, and we could see Thargomindah in the distance. We could see the town of Thargomindah in the distance. And you know what that meant? Cold drink after, and we were drinking muddy water out of the Boolloo River. We didn't have fresh water and that. Once we ran out, we had to use the Boolloo River and strain it through a canvas filter and a couple of Puri tabs in there. So everything tasted like mud. We saw Thargomindah. Anyway, me and another one, I think Goffy, his name was, we're out on point with the SLRs, live ammo up the spout, and a kangaroo bounces past us. Well, we were supposed to shoot it because it was a survival exercise. But we could see Thargomindah in the distance. And the captain was back there, and he was a real bloody worry sort of guy. And he'd already briefed it. If you see an animal, a pig or a kangaroo, we'll bowl it over and we've got to eat it, start a fire, and we'll eat him up. And I could see this kangaroo, old rifle comes up. I could hear all the boys behind me. Don't shoot it, don't shoot it, don't shoot it, because it would have been an inconvenience. We're only like an hour from Thargomindah. The last thing we wanted to do after walking for 5 days or whatever, or 4 days, was skin a kangaroo and try and cook it and eat it. We just wanted to get to the pub and have a cold beer and a pie. So I could hear the boys, don't shoot it, Buck, don't shoot it, don't shoot it. So I didn't take a shot. Well, I got my ass chewed out by this captain. That could be our last food for weeks, and you didn't take the shot. And anyway, so I took one for the boys. I took one for the team. I got my ass absolutely chewed out for not taking the shot, but the boys were patting me on the back for the rest of the trip home because they didn't want to clean that kangaroo up. So I still remember that back in the 1986, that was out at the Thargomindah Boolloo River area, and they call it Channel Country. The flies were off tap, guys. I've never seen flies like that in my life. Jack's off, is he? Jack's had enough. So Brad Howell's on, been watching from the start, 10-10 on the side. 10-10 on the side. Now, listen, we'll keep going. In no particular order. Two morons got into the MCG the other day with loaded firearms. I don't know what kind of firearms they were, so maybe someone can let me know. Skippy Bound and now a subscriber, yeah. Two guys went into the MCG with loaded weapons. And the police aren't treating it as a terrorism incident. I'll tell you now, those guys should go behind bars. I don't give a shit what their reason was. You do not go into a football game with loaded weapons. You don't go in with any weapon, a knife, anything, laser pointer, a weapon. I don't know what kind of weapons they are. It must have been pistols, eh? And I don't know how they got a bit rowdy apparently, and then the police turned up to throw they wouldn't do what security told them. Security called the police, from what I heard. Then the police went to throw them out and must have done a search on them. They had loaded revolvers. Pistols, yeah, it must have. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a rifle, unless you could break it down in a backpack or something. They had loaded revolvers on them in a football in the MCG. Let's do a poll. Start a poll. They're not getting charged with terrorism or anything like that. Should they do prison time, everyone? Those two guys that had loaded weapons in the MCG And I don't care if they're clean. I don't care if they've got criminal histories or whatever. We've got to stamp that out. Same as anyone who takes a knife into the MCG, like a butcher's knife or something like that down their pants. It's just not on. You can't have that. And I was thinking, weren't they wanding people? No, they weren't. Apparently they got some at the MCG now, some newfangled dangled AI run metal scanners that you walk through, and it didn't pick them up. It didn't pick up that they had a revolver down their pants, a revolver which is probably made of stainless steel or whatever. If it was a 357 Magnum or something, stainless steel or metal at least. There's metal detectors at the MCG. Yeah, well, they don't work, Hein, because they're those AI-driven things. Apparently they're AI-driven. They didn't pick up the guns. At least a security guard with a Garrett brand wand, put it over the back and the front, that would have picked it up. Those things will pick up if they didn't pick it up. So one, security shit, and they need to get rid of those metal detectors. And two, those arseholes should be on remand and should be behind bars. They need to stamp that shit out. But no, they won't go to prison. We know how piss weak this country is when it comes to that. 100% of you are saying, yes, they should do jail time. Absolutely they should. There is no... I don't know what you reckon, Mike. You don't go to football games here in this country with a loaded firearm, mate. And I don't care if the guns were licensed to them or whatever. Who gives a shit? The only place you're allowed to have handguns here in Australia, guys, is on the range. Is on a range. We all know we got strict gun laws here. So they want to get strict. Put those two arseholes in prison for 12 months and let them have a little think about it, and let that be a deterrence to any other arsehole that wants to try and do that. And next time they catch some arsehole in a nightclub with a knife down their pants, go and do some prison time. Got to start stamping it out. Possession of a knife in a public place without reasonable excuse, they need to really get tough about that. They really do. Now, the next thing that I was going to talk about, elbows fall off the stage the other day, and a thing I saw on Facebook. Now, you know I'm not an Albanese fan, everyone. I'm not an Elbow fan, but I call it as I see it. Apparently they were both on bail. Oh, Mike's heard about it too. Well, they're both on bail, even, there you go, for other offences. So they're obviously shitbags. They're on bail. I hope they don't get bail again, Mike. Oh, they'll probably, we'll give them bail again. We'll give them another chance. Bullshit. You're on bail. You're on thin ice. You stuff up, you go inside. That's how it should work. We need to stiffen up our justice system in this. And no one knows it better than me, because he used to sit in through friggin' trials, a lot of it to do with pedophilia and that. I used to sit in there with these grubs and listen to the shit. It used to make me want to spew in district and Supreme Court, and listen to the shit that used to come out of the defence barristers' mouths to create some sort of doubt and try and get these grubs off. It was pathetic. It really was. And you just sit there going, he's going to give them the minimum here. They come into the sentencing, and then prosecutions would go, this bloke should get 15 years. And then the defence would get up, he should get 5 years. And then you see the judge, he'd go out with his friggin' gay wig on and come back in and go, 5 years, eligible for parole after 3. Good luck, Mr. So-and-so, when you go inside. I hope everything's okay for you. It's bullshit. It used to make me want to vomit. Anyway, how do I go down that rabbit hole? Elbow fell off the stage. Whoopie-doo. He was getting photos, and I think he was trying to get into a different position. He was styling up, but the amount of Sky News Australia, or one of them, the amount of people who are mocking him for falling off stage. It's not like he's Joe Biden and, you know, whatever. He had a tumble off stage. To his credit, he bounced back up. Who gives a shit? Stop going on about it. He had a fall off stage. He didn't hurt himself, thank goodness. And he bounced back up, had a laugh about it, and got on with it. But no, some other people seem to make it into a big deal. Sky News Australia, they are pathetic, that mob. And there was another thing on Facebook. It showed Albo at a lectern, and all you could see behind him was the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island flag. So what they've done, someone has zoomed in from a certain angle and taken a photo of Albo so you can't see the Australian national flag behind him. If you zoomed out, it would have been just over on the left-hand side out of shot. And the internet, some of you probably saw it. The internet was alive. What a disrespectful Prime Minister, refusing to fly the Australian national flag and that. You could tell that the photo had been zoomed in so you could only see the two Indigenous flags. And people in the comment section just believing this shit. Don't believe everything you see on Facebook, everyone. Some people, the amount of people on there were going, disgraceful behaviour and the Prime Minister and hates his own country and all that. You know I'm not an Albo fan, everyone. But zoom out a bit. Some arsehole zoomed in so you can't see that. Zoom out, and there was the Australian national flag would have been there. Always flies through. It goes Australian national flag, Aboriginal flag, Torres Strait flag. But no, they zoomed in so you couldn't see the ANF. Speaking of ANF, how do you like my new Aussie flag? Did anyone notice it? I got that off eBay the other day. It's the Australian flag, but a camouflage one. I saw it and I had to buy it. I couldn't help myself. I reckon it looks pretty cool. Camouflaged Aussie flag. So I'll fly that up the flagpole at some stage too. I've got two Aussie flags flying out the front at the moment. That one's going to have to go up. Also got a new white ensign, Royal Australian Navy flag. But yeah, if anyone saw that, don't sit there and think Albo's disrespectful. They just took it they zoomed in, took it from a certain angle so you couldn't see the Australian flag. It was there. It's just gutter journalism. It really is. I don't know who started that, but it did the rounds on Facebook trying to make Albo look bad because he wasn't. It was there, guys. It was there. Trust me. Now, Trump tariffs. Mike, how much is a Big Mac now, Mike? Apparently there's Aussie beef in your Big Macs over in the thing. 10% tariff on Australia. We got away fairly lightly compared to other countries. I thought I just heard someone. Roz and Jamil have just gone out, guys. I thought I heard a voice then. Is that you, Roz? No. Trump's tariffs the other day. He's tariffed the shit out of the world. And it's the USA stock markets in 2 days, $6.4 trillion off the US stock market. 6.4 trillion. Unbelievable. Something's going to give soon, guys. Mike, something's going to give soon. And a lot of countries are tariffing the USA back. Australia is not one of them. We're not doing tariffs. All tariffs do on Australian beef is if the USA need that beef, they're still going to buy it. And who's going to pay the extra money for that beef? The consumers over in the United States. If the USA still buy that beef off Australia, we still get the same amount of money for it. It gets a 10% tariff put on it at the US end, guys, and the consumers pay an extra 10%. He's put a 34% on China. No, China's put a 34% on the USA. So it's getting untidy now. It's really getting untidy. He's tariffed 10%. Anything that comes out of Australia into the USA, I think pharmaceuticals, beef was the big one, Australian beef. And he's saying because we don't import US beef. It's because we got really strict quarantine laws here, and we don't import raw meat unless, because apparently a lot of American beef, they can't guarantee that it hasn't come over from Mexico and then been slaughtered in the US. They're worried about mad cow disease. So, as you know, in Australia, guys, if you're on a plane, you come into Australia and you got any sort of raw meat or fruit, vegetables, or anything, you have to declare it. Quarantine. We're an isolated island with wildlife that is not found anywhere else in the world. And our quarantine rules down here are very, very strict, mate. And so they should be. So Trump's up us because we're not importing US beef. One, we probably don't need it. We've got enough of our own beef. Two, Australian beef's cheaper than the US beef. Probably better too. We've got some of the best beef in the world. Japan imported that. We got good beef here. And he's put a 10% tariff on. So if the USA keep importing Australian beef, it's going to be 10% dearer at that end. We are not putting tariffs on the USA reciprocal. And here's another poll. China's put 34 on the USA. I don't know what he's thinking. Trump, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get manufacturing and everything back into the USA. I understand that. But I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of hurt. There's going to be a lot of hurt in the USA before you see things start turning around. Apparently, there's big companies over there putting off 600 and 400 workers in a hit. It's not good. It's not good at all. Apparently, Israel tariffed the USA stuff coming in. I don't know why Israel would want to tariff the USA. Israel only exists because of the USA. If it wasn't for the USA, Israel would cease to exist. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, should Australia take action against the USA? Should we put tariffs on there? I don't think so. I'll just snap my pencil. I don't think we should, because we go and put a 10% tariff on Dodge Rams. There's probably a luxury car tax on them, 30% luxury car tax on them as well, which blokes like Brad Howell, and that's why Dodge Rams and big Chevys and that are so expensive here, is because of Chris Bowen's green energy tax and luxury car tax. That's why they're so expensive. So if we go and put another tariff on top of that, they'd be out of reach for a lot of people. But if Trump wants to play that game, the first thing the Canadians did was take American alcohol off the shelves. Now, should we tariff American alcohol? I don't think so. But what's stopping the big alcohol companies here in Australia just stop stocking US alcohol? Kentucky Bourbon, Jim Beam, Maker's Mark, Miller's. I don't know anyone who drinks American beer anyway. Miller's and Budweiser and all that. Just stop importing it. We don't need it. We don't need American alcohol here. So, but these alcohol companies they just run on profit and greed, guys. They'll keep doing it. You know, when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was a particular brand of Russian vodka you could get here in Australia. And as soon as Russia invaded Ukraine, that Russian vodka is nowhere to be seen anymore. They don't import any Russian alcohol. That Russian vodka, the bloke said, no, our big company, he's run by one of the big alcohol companies. He said, once it's gone, mate, it's gone. We're not importing it anymore. So why don't they do it with American alcohol? Trump wants to go and tariff us, one of his closest allies, and he goes and throws a 10% tariff on us. He's gone and put a 30% tariff on Christmas Island and Norfolk Island, which are Australian territories. And he's also put a tariff on Heard and McDonald Islands down near Antarctica that are only inhabited by penguins. And that is a true story. He's put a tariff on those two islands, Mike, and they are Australian territories down near Antarctica, Heard and McDonald Islands, and they're only inhabited by penguins. There are no permanent, and he's put a tariff on those two islands. Who gives him his information? Who gives him his information? So Mike's probably throwing shit at his create a poll. Ask the question. Here we go. This will depend whether you drink it or not. If you're a Jim Beam drinker, I know what yours will say here. Start a poll. Do we stop drinking American alcohol, guys? If you drink Jim Beam, Maker's Mark and all that, do you go and start drinking something else? Just don't drink it. That's what the Canadians did. They took it off the shelf. I don't think we should go and take it all off the shelf because people are going to lose out on money then. But we just don't reorder. Once it's gone, it's gone. Go and drink something else. Oh, Australia sells fish to the USA from those islands. Okay. Right, but why tariff those two islands? Wouldn't it be just product of Australia? They're Australian territories, Roy. I don't understand how that works. All our bourbon comes from the USA. Yeah, we only make whiskey here, Scotch whiskey, Scotch type whiskey. I don't think we make. Do we make bourbon here in Australia? Bourbon whiskey? I don't know. All that whiskey down in Tasmania is like a Scotch or an Irish whiskey. It's different to bourbon. I'm not a bourbon drinker. I don't like the stuff. I can't stand it. The price of Guinness is going to go through the roof. That's Irish. Yes, Mike, he's worried about, well, he's obviously done a tariff on Ireland, mate. And it would have been 30% or whatever. So, Mike, you might have to start drinking Bud Light or Miller's Light. So, Trump's tariffs, guys, the guy is off his chops. He is out of control. He really is. Should our alcohol companies just say, nah, not importing American alcohol anymore? No tariffs, just stop importing it. A lot of you must drink Maker's Mark or Jim Beam and that here. So anyway, we'll see what happens. We're not putting tariffs on America because the only thing we import from America here real is vehicles, Dodge Rams and all that. What else comes from America? We're not a big importer. I don't think there'd be tariffs on military equipment. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think so. One would hope not. We'll leave that poll go for a while, everyone. Hey, some good news. Yesterday, Bobby Ass's birthday, guys. Is he still in Kenya? Is Bob? Yeah, Coke and Pepsi's another one. Yeah. Jackery. No, well, Jackery's an American company. Mark, made in China. Yeah, Jackery's another one. Yep. I was given that for nothing. I didn't actually buy that. They gave me that thing. And I'll tell you what, it could be a lot better. If I was bringing something like that into the Australian market, I'd be making some changes to that thing, i.e. Anderson plugs on it, a 15-amp plug, tie-down points. What else? There was a couple other things I picked up on it. It's lacking in a few areas, that thing, let me tell you. I drink Black River bourbon made here in North Queensland. Black River bourbon. That sounds like Pete. That is made in your shed. I think Pete must make his own bourbon. Yeah. In other news, the Cowboys won't get the spoon. Yeah, Bobby Ass's birthday yesterday, guys. I don't know if Bobby's still over in Kenya at the moment. Did anyone see it? Bobby and Kim's son has married a Kenyan girl. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one too. Anyway, they're over in Kenya near Nairobi for the wedding. Anyway, you know the guys that they do the bounce in the air, and they're like big, tall, skinny guys, and they're like basketball players. They bounce up in the air, and here's Bob, about 5'5", in the middle of them, trying to bounce, and his feet were getting about 3 millimeters off the ground, trying to bounce with these African guys. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. That was bloody funny. So Bobby and Kim, I don't know if they're home yet, having a wonderful time over in Kenya. Just see how they live different to us, over there in Africa. Really. Another one now, the MRH90 investigation is going to be released soon. The families and that are going to find out first, and then the military. Then they'll release it to the public in a few weeks, probably. That's the MRH90 Taipan helicopter that crashed down in the Whitsundays, guys, killing 4 members of the Australian Defence Force, 2 officers, a warrant officer class 2 and a corporal. It was a terrible incident, and we're going to find out soon why that happened. The inside run-in is it was something to do with night vision equipment, and it wasn't the fault of the helicopter. It was something to do with the night vision stuff in their helmets. Was disorientating the pilots. Anyway, we'll find out soon, but I've already read some stuff saying that's what they reckon it was. I think it was also on 60 Minutes, and hopefully the families get some answers, okay? And that's why the MRH90 helicopters no longer flying. They're all been buried in a big hole, I think, all been stripped down. Is big knee-jerk reaction. So the investigation for that's going to come out, and if I was a betting man, it's going to be something to do with the night vision equipment, because I already proved that the engines were running fine when it went into the water. Hey, I'm about to get some new towing mirrors on the BT50, everyone. I got away with towing mirrors when I had the Jawa Sirocco, because it was only as wide as the car and I could see down the side of it. With the Jayco, it's a lot wider. I cannot. And towing mirrors are compulsory in Queensland. They're, by law, you have to have them on. I had those Malenko screw-on ones. I hate them. I hate those screw-on towing mirrors. They're bloody useless. So anyway, I went into Morris Grasso the other day, and Morris is an agent for MSA towing mirrors and also Clearview, so I went in and said, Morris, I want to get some MSA towing mirrors on the BT50. And anyway, he looked up some prices, and Clearview was actually cheaper than MSA. So he's ordered me a set of Clearview towing mirrors, and they're not bloody power fold and all that. You can still adjust them using the switch inside the car, but they're not power fold and all that. They're just like a base model. So they just pull out, and I'll be able to legally tow the Jayco Caravan. So I'm getting Clearview mirrors, not MSA. I was going to get MSA, but the Clearview actually worked out cheaper than the MSA, about the $800 mark, guys. So now, I did a clip yesterday on 4 or 5 tyre rotation on the BT50. Well, I answered my own question. I was halfway through, and the light bulb went off in my head as I was talking on camera. My thing was, do I go 5 and sacrifice one of my alloy wheels, or do I stick with 4 so I can still have 4 mud terrain tyres if I need them, and have the 4 spare alloy rims? And then I thought I could always get another alloy wheel and still have a 5 tyre rotation with the new Falcon Wild Peak tyres, and still have muddies if I want to down the track. So that's exactly what I did. I got in from the shed, typed in BT50 alloy rim, and the first thing that come up, $130-something, a second-hand BT50 alloy rim, looked like it was in good nick. So I've ordered it, guys, $40 or $65 delivery, freight. So for just under $200, I've got a new alloy coming. So I will be running a 5 tyre rotation on the BT50, if you're wondering. So I got in and bought another alloy wheel. That solved that problem. Now, Dutton's come out saying he wants to. Well, in that poll there, guys, it's a close one. 53% say we should stop importing US alcohol. 47 no. So that was close there. John Howard's just come out and said that we should never use military or use defence as a bargaining chip for tariffs. Leave it out, because I don't know, if Trump went real bad on us, I'd start reminding him that he's got Pine Gap here, which is vital to American defence, and he's also using Australia as a massive aircraft carrier for the United States defence for the Indo-Pacific region. I'd be reminding him of that before he puts any more tariffs on us. And if you want to keep putting tariffs on us, arsehole, Go and find another country to use as a base for the Indo-Pacific, because we're going to go our own way. We're already getting away from American. I know we've got a lot of American military equipment, but our new frigates, our two aircraft, not the aircraft carriers, are not American. Our bloody Anzac frigates aren't American. Our new frigates, our Hunter-class frigates, when they come in, are not American. Our 11 general purpose frigates are either going to be German or Japanese. Our self-propelled artillery is South Korean. Our infantry fighting vehicles, the Redbacks, South Korean, built here in Australia. All right, so they've got us. AUKUS is the big thing. They don't want to lose out on this AUKUS. And I don't blame them. They want Virginia-class submarines. And I got a funny feeling that we're going to hang on all this time. And then when it comes to the crunch, the Yanks are going to go, we haven't got enough for our own Navy. Sorry, Aussies, you can't have them anymore. We're not selling them to you. So, and then we'll be back to square one, and we'll be back to the French with our tail between our legs, trying to get French nuclear submarines. Probably should have done that in the first place. We would have had them by now. So Peter Dutton's come out and said he's going to get the Port of Darwin back. Great news. How he does that, I do not know. There's a 99-year lease on the Port of Darwin. The Chief Minister of the Northern Territory signed that over to the Chinese. Can you believe that? Anyway, Peter Dutton's going to try and get that back. But there was no mention of the 34 Chinese-owned hospitals in this country. Yep, they own just about everything, guys. So is he going to buy all the hospitals back too? Let's wait out and see. He's got to get in first, hasn't he? So he wants to get the Port of Darwin back. Don't know how he's going to do that. Speaking of politics, if anyone in Victoria votes for Lydia Thorpe in the upcoming election, you need to have a good look at yourself, guys. She is a vile piece of shit. She is a horrible, horrible person. And what pisses me off, if she does get voted out, she's going to retire on a dirty, big, fat pension, probably $80,000 or $100,000 a year for the rest of her life, for being a racist piece of shit. And I don't know if she gets voted, and Victoria is one of those states, they voted in Daniel Andrews again. Everyone's thinking, he's on the nose, he's the worst, and he got voted back in. So I'm not getting my hopes up. She could get voted back in again. How, I do not know. While I'm on it, and I'm in a bad mood, did everyone see that thing? Where was it? Portland, Victoria again. Portland, Victoria, where they just put the bulldozers through all that bloody forest area with gum trees and that. And a lady went around with a video camera after they'd knocked all the trees over, and there were dead koalas everywhere that had just been bulldozed. Dead koalas everywhere. They just went in and they're clearing it for wind farms. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Is that what we've come to now, is it? Where are the Greens kicking up a stink about this? Remember back in the 80s when they wanted to dam the Franklin River, and the Greenies were out there chaining themselves to trees and all that? They don't do that anymore. I don't know what they protest about now. Protest about bloody wanting to be transgender and all this shit. And then we're allowing, who allows that to happen? Who allows to just go and bulldoze however many acres of gum trees it was when it's a koala population? Stuff the koalas, we'll just bulldoze them. And the poor little things are all dead because the trees were falling on them and that. It was disgraceful. It was disgraceful. Yeah, she's a disgrace, I know. She is. And if she gets voted back in again, Victoria, you need to have a really good, hard look at yourself. We cannot have people like her in positions of power and authority. She's just a vile, racist person. Horrible. She's bloody weakens the country, people like that. I just hope she doesn't get voted back in again. Then she go and live on a big fat pension. It's pathetic. It really is. That must be a criminal. Yeah, Pete, did anyone see that? Did anyone see the actual video? I think I put it up on my Facebook. A lady, and There was koalas there, dead, with tree branches on top of them. They'd just been squashed because the bulldozers went through. Who authorises the bulldozers in the first place? The government, mate. The government. Because they want green energy. And they go and just clear the trees, which, and as we know, trees are the best thing for oxygen, aren't they? They take in the carbon dioxide and release oxygen. What's that called? Photosynthesis or something. We just keep bulldozing. We gave some money once to a koala rescue place on the Sunshine Coast. And I rang a guy up from that koala rescue place saying we wanted to donate some money to them and, you know, the wildlife carers for koalas. He said, mate, you won't have to worry about that soon. He said they're bulldozing every tree known to man to build more housing things in the southeast corner. I think Magnetic Island's about the last place in Australia where koalas are safe. They got a good population over on Maggie Island, the koalas, but have a look at that. It'll make you angry, guys. If you're an animal lover like me, here we are protecting frigging crocodiles, are protected here in North Queensland, not allowed to shoot them, not allowed to cull them. These things eat people and they're a danger to our safety. Mongrel bloody things they are. Their numbers are out of control, and yet we can go and authorise to put bulldozers through bushland and kill all our koalas, which are a protected bloody animal because they're on the endangered species. Yeah, Mark, it makes you angry, mate. You see little koalas squashed by trees. Poor little things were up in the trees. Next thing, the bulldozers, not even an attempt to relocate them or anything. We'll just bulldoze them and kill them so we can put more fucking wind farms in. Absolute disgrace. Where are the greenies now? Where's the Green Party kicking up a stink about that? Their friggin' windmills are more important than the koalas and saving the trees and all that type of stuff. Not totally against wind farms, guys, renewable energy, but we gotta be smarter about where we build them and where we put them. They're clearing hundreds of acres of rainforest here in far north Queensland to put wind farms in. It's bullshit. And then when they burst into flames and that, they can't recycle it. They get the bulldozers in, dig dirty big holes, and it goes into landfill and it never breaks down. So how green is it really? How green is it? You see the amount of trees they clear, the amount of steel that goes into building them, the amount of which needs coal to make steel, the amount of concrete to build the slabs, massive. And then they just go and bulldoze the koalas. The person I'd love to meet, I'd love to see who signed off on that and meet him in a pub after a couple of Bundy rums. And then I'd be the one. Your first fight is your last drink in this pub. So be it. Well, I'm going to put a couple on his chin before I get thrown out. I don't know, guys. You know, like protecting crocodiles up here in far north Queensland, and yet we can go and bulldoze koalas and kill them. Fuck off. Bullshit. Hey, I'll get on to a funny story for you. The other day, I went in for that procedure in hospital, and it's called a cystoscopy. Cystoscopy. Hey, if you're wondering what that is, it's a probe with a little tiny camera on the end of it, and they put it down the eye of your old fella, up through your urethra, into your bladder, and they can check the inside of your bladder and also the prostate. So I've been dreading this procedure for a couple of weeks, as you know. So I go in there, I go up the cans, I go in, and finally me and Roz went and I didn't have to fast for that because they don't put you under. So we went to a little, right where the day hospital is, there's a little Vietnamese cafe, and me and Roz loves it. So we went there and had lunch. Beautiful Asian food and a good price too. Went and had lunch, and then I went upstairs to the day hospital. So, Mr. Rogers, yeah. Here you go. Go into that change room and put this on. And basically, it's you got to strip down, put on these paper underpants, like little tissue paper underpants, a little paper gown, put a thing on your head, like a hat thing, and some booties over your feet. So I'm in there, I'm thinking, where's my hat? Oh, here it is. So I try to stretch it over my head. Twang, the elastic snaps on it. And then I realised, oh, there's another one in there. Like, that's your booties, you idiot. I was trying to put me booties on over my head and I snapped the elastic. So I came out and I said to the nurse, hey, I just tried to put me booty on me head and broke the elastic. And she just like, oh, no, it was a male, sorry. He goes, righto, brings me another one. And I said, I don't think I've got a hat. So I come out dressed up like a bloody peanut. Anyway, the air conditioner, I was dreading this. The air conditioner was set to about minus 35. I thought I was in northern Canada in wintertime, guys. And I'm thinking, please be a male nurse. So, Paul Rogers, yep. Hi, my name's Brianna, and she was good looking too. She was a good sort. My name's Brianna, and I'm the anaesthetic nurse. I went, oh, you're friggin' kidding me. So, oh, yeah, Murphy's Law. It was bound to happen. Marky Lavelle, you know where I'm going with this. She goes, come in here. So I walk in, and she points to the table. She points to the table, and I walk in. There's a female Asian nurse there with all her thing on, and some Indian male nurse over in the corner. I don't know what his job was, and the urologist, a male urologist. So she goes up on the bed, and I'm thinking, come on. Anyway, on the bed, she pulls me gown up and down with the paper undies. And I went, righto. I knew this had happened. So anyway, the urologist comes over, and he didn't muck around. He just said, what's your name, date of birth, told him, and then he goes, rightio, here we go. And he's just grabbed the old fella with a pair of tweezers. No, he's grabbed it, and as soon as he grabbed it, he must have had a syringe full of numbing gel, and he's put it into the eye of the old fella. Some blokes are probably sitting there going, well, squeamish now. And the nurse goes, wrong way down a one-way street. And he squirted the numbing gel down my old fella, guys. And it was a weird feeling. It didn't hurt, but it wasn't pleasant. It was a weird feeling. And I thought, oh, my God, that was bullshit. So I thought, all right, we'll have to wait 5 minutes now for the numbing gel to take effect. Nah. Next thing, he's just grabbed, it must be a probe, and he's put the probe into the eye of my old fella, and in it goes. And it wasn't too bad going down the old fella, but then it got up inside me. And I could feel, she wasn't numbed up in there, so I could feel this sharp object up in my bladder and going around in the bottom of my, well, it felt like the bottom of my stomach. And it was a shit, weird feeling. It was kind of painful, but it wasn't ridiculously painful, but it was an unpleasant feeling, everyone. Really, and I was sitting there gritting my teeth. I think I was kind of waiting for some real pain to hit. And the urologist goes, look at the screen, mate. And I looked up, because I was sitting there squinting my eyes, and he looked over, and I could see the probe going down my old fella. Didn't take long to get through there, let me tell you. Didn't take long to get through there, up into my bladder. And then he's looking around. I couldn't really tell what was going on in my bladder. And then he pokes it up a bit more, and I could feel it. It was like a cockroach or an ant running around inside me. It was a shit feeling. It was a weird feeling. And then he goes, there it is. And I look, and it was like this. They say a prostate looks like a walnut. Does in a way, now that I think about it. He goes, that's your prostate. And he said, I can clearly tell it's enlarged, and it's pushing on your urethra, which is why you're having trouble peeing. Anyway, and he had a quick look, and I reckon 3 minutes most, and it was probably not even that, a couple of minutes. And he said, there you go. You can clearly tell it's enlarged and blah, blah, blah. And they're talking to me. And anyway, and then he pulled it all the way out. Didn't really feel that. And when it was out, the nurse comes along with a tissue and wipes the gel off and all that, and back on with me paper undies. Very embarrassing, everyone. Very embarrassing, but not a procedure I want done in a hurry. I said to the urologist, is there any damage inside my bladder, which was the whole reason I was getting this done. He said, no, it's good. He said, come and see me in 6 months, and it's up to you now whether you get this operation done, where they basically shave my prostate, everyone, so I can pee properly. And you know what? I reckon after another 6 months of this, I'm going to be fed up with it, and I might get it done. So I'll see how I go. A few people have got on and said, there's a procedure. Get it done, Buck. It's life-changing. It's life-changing. So I might have to man up. Apparently it's 2 or 3 weeks of unpleasant feeling after your prostate operation. They don't remove the prostate. They only do that if you've got prostate cancer. I've been cleared of that. I got cleared of that a couple of years ago. Pissing down rain, guys. So much for the Caravan. Anyway, I've got a decision to make in 6 months' time, everyone. The same weird feeling you get when you get a colonoscopy. Mike, I was out. I got the colonoscopy done, and also biopsies on my prostate. I was knocked out. I went under general anaesthetic for that, mate. I was knocked out. So I have not had a colonoscopy done. I was under. They put me under general. So yeah, which means you can't drive home and all that type of stuff. But this cystoscopy, guys, it's not the end of the world, but it wasn't a pleasant experience. It was not I wouldn't rush back to have it done again. It was a little bit of pain, but more of a weird feeling, having some sharp object going. Didn't really feel it through the old fella because of the numbing gel, but once it got inside my bladder and that, I could feel it, and it was poking around up in there, and it was not a horrible man up and get it done, Brad says. Yeah, I'll crack a fat. Big fella, I was trying to think of things that would make me at least get a set, like, you know what I mean? But the air conditioner won out that day, mate. The air conditioner won out. I was sitting there trying to think. I was trying to think of things that would make it a bit more impressive, but it didn't work. It was very cold. The nurse was good looking, and she probably thought, I could see the disappointment in her eyes when she pulled the pants down, guys. It was like that. Anyway, once it was over, she came out and bloody, what are you doing now? So I'm going to go over and have a coffee. That's what I'm going to do and all that. She was pretty good about it. They're all professional, aren't they? Seen them all. Some are just a bit smaller than others. Isn't that the same? So that was my procedure, guys. I know you're all waiting to hear that. Some of you blokes out there are probably thinking, Buck, don't ever tell that story ever again. Our eyes have gone funny. And so, yeah, medical cystoscopy, guys. Now, another thing was very interesting. I saw this on the internet the other day too. The LGBTQI+. This lady was on there, and I thought, oh, what's this going to be about? An obvious lesbian talking on Facebook. And basically, I thought, anyway, I had to listen to her. And what she said was very, very interesting. She basically was going on that she wants the LGB, lesbians, gays, and bisexuals, which are just normal people with different sexual orientation. She wants the LGB totally separated from the TQI+, trans, queer, I don't know what I can't remember, and the plus. She said, wait for it. If you want to know what the plus is, it's coming. And it was very, very disturbing the way she explained it. She said, we don't want to be associated. She said, she went in, it gets weirder. And she said, it's getting weirder and weirder, and the inclusion of all these other people. And she said, you know what the plus is? She said, before long, she said, there's people out there that have got a disease, and their disease is they're attracted to kids. And she said, if the way the world is going, those people, and we all know who they are, we know where they should be, not all of them are, those people, the way the world is going, will be included, and that plus will be a P for pedophiles will be included. And the way she explained it, I'm thinking, the way we're accepting people now to identify as cats and dogs, it's not out of there. The way we're going, she said, pedophilia is going to be accepted. And she said, we can't have that, and nor can we. Watch this space, guys. If we keep going down this path, eventually that plus will turn into a P for those putrid assholes who I used to look after when I was a prison screw. And I wish I should have shared it on my page. And she was an obvious lesbian. And I'll tell you what, she was very, very firm that she wants the LGB totally separated from the rest of that. She said, we don't want to be associated with them. It was a good listen. It really was. But I'll tell you what, it was concerning when she said the way we're going and the inclusiveness of all these other types of people here, pedos will be the next one on there, and it'll become an accepted thing. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. We all know what should happen to them. It was concerning. It really was. Now, I don't want to talk about the new Ranger Superduty yet. Dutton, the other one, he reckons he's going to reduce migration by 25%. How about 100% for 3 years at least? Peter, how about we just stop it all together until we get this country back on track? Not by 25%, by 100%. And then when we do restart it, we have a real hard conversation about the types of people we let into this country. It's our country. We decide who friggin' comes in here, and we start letting in the right people. I won't go down that rabbit hole. You all know where I'm going with that. We start letting in the right people with the same way we think. Poms, Yanks, South Africans, Kiwis. Should we let the Kiwis in? No, they're already here. Kiwis, Pacific Islanders, all those people that have got the same Western people, Europeans, Irish, people like that have got the same beliefs as us, we think the same. I'm not against letting in other people, but we've got to be careful how many of them we let in, guys. We can't have people coming in from countries that hate us, basically, hate our way of life, and then we let too many of them in. I'm going to stop before I say something wrong there. You know where I'm going with it anyway. It's our country. We decide who comes in, and I'm not going to apologise for saying that. Our Anzacs fought for this country, and we're letting the wrong type of people in, and our Australianism's getting watered down, everyone. We're losing our way. We're losing our identity. We're losing our friggin' country, okay, to migrants, and it's not on. Bullshit. It's Australia. So I'm right into, at the moment, and I wish I had more money, I want to start up a big power station in my shed. So basically, I've got that Jackery, guys, which won't power my house on it. But instead of going and spending $3,000 for a new Jackery battery that probably still won't get me through the night, I can go and buy 300 amp hour lithium battery from King's. I can get two of them and put them in parallel and triple or quadruple the power of my Jackery. And instead of having a proper Jackery spare battery, you can use lithium batteries to do it. So I want to set up like a big power station in my shed. It's going to cost a bit of money to do it. And I'm thinking of just using King's gear, guys. King's lithium batteries, which seem to work fine. Have a 2,000 watt inverter. Have a 40 amp solar controller so I can charge things up by thing. I've got some good stuff going on my head at the moment about turning my shed into a big power station. I'm going to get a new bench, and that's going to be my my power bench for all my thing. And then after a cyclone and that, I activate that, start the Jackery up, pump power into the Jackery via the lithium batteries, run a 15 amp lead into the house, and power my house all night after a cyclone. One little thing I've got, and I'm going to try it out, it's coming from Harvey Norman, is a Bluetti Charger 1. Okay, Ty's got one. And I'm going to put some Anderson plugs on that. And what it does, instead of, if I want to use my 120 amp lithium battery in the shed to put power into my Jackery, I can do that via the cigarette thing. But you'll only get 100 watts going in, which doesn't cut the mustard. This Bluetti, I can crank the volts up to 56 volts because the Jackery will take 60 volts, and I can pump up to 560 watts using this little Bluetti charger. Okay, so that's going to be an experiment, and it'll be a clip coming up soon. I should get it next week. A Bluetti 1 charger, and it boosts your 12-volt power up to 560 watts. So I'm going to have a crack at that one. So I've got a lot of things going on in my head. I want to get a new bench with a wooden top on it, and underneath, and I'm going to have, that's going to be my power station bench, and I'm going to have plywood there, and I'm going to have a isolator switch, lithium batteries all wired up, 2,000 watt inverter, solar controller. So if I want to charge up, I just run my solar panel lead in the window of the shed into the solar controller, which is mounted onto the plywood wall, and I can charge my lithium battery bank up doing that. And that lithium batteries I use to charge up the Jackery when I'm out, when I'm off grid. So yeah, but it's going to cost me a bit of money. That's why I'm using King's gear, guys, because it's affordable. Went into Morris the other day. Oh, look at these lithium batteries, 120 amp lithium batteries, $1,600. I said, Morris, I can get a King's one that'll do the same job for $300, mate. Come on, I can buy what's 3 into bloody 3 7s, 21, 3 6, 6. I can get 6 King's batteries, 120s, hook them up in parallel, and get way more than that. I forget the brand of it now. It was like an Enerdrive. It was an upmarket Enerdrive, and the price was just out of control. It really was. I just thought, mate, you won't see me buying one of those. Too expensive. The old King's batteries, I've got one out in the shed. It's going all right so far, and I've seen a lot of huge people using 200 and 300 amp lithium PO4, lithium phosphate, life PO4 King's batteries, and they're doing the job for them. They're doing the job, and the average bloke can afford to buy them. So that's what I'm going to be doing. All I need now is an auto elect with some nous to help me hook it up, but I'll just chip away at that. It's not going to happen overnight. There's a lot of money. So my power station, the new Kia Tasman, when's that coming in? The new Tasman. Apparently they've done a facelift on it because everyone was going, it is horrible. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's still got a pissy little 2.3 litre engine in there that only produces 450 or 430 Newton meters of torque. It's not good enough. The new Steve Fuller's Ranger, guys, 500 Newton meters out of a bloody 2 litre. The Kia Tasman, I think, is going to be underpowered, and a lot of people have been saying that. John Cadogan, it's underpowered. It's underpowered. It needs a bloody 6-cylinder in there. It really does. And let's go on to the new Ford Super Ranger, which is coming out next year, 2026. The new Super Duty. Ford Ranger Super Duty. Now, this is going to compete with your Dodge Rams and your Chevys and that, guys. 4,500 kilo GVM, 4.5 ton GVM, which is, well, my BT's got 3.5. It had 3.2. I got a GVM upgrade, so another ton there. They don't know what the payload's going to be yet because they don't know what the curb weight is. So the payload's there, but a 4.5 ton towing capacity, which is why a lot of people, Brad and all them, are going to the Dodge Rams, everyone. So the new Ford Ranger Super Duty is going to be 4.5 ton GVM, 4.5 ton towing capacity, 8 ton GCM, which is really good. So you can tow a big van with it, 8,000. So combined gross combination mass of 8,000. And the other good thing about it, it's got onboard scales. So when you're loading it up or putting your tow ball on, you turn your dash on inside and it goes, mate, you're over GVM or you're getting close to GVM. It's got onboard scales, which will tell you if you're loading it correctly, loading it evenly. Put your tow ball weight on. So you load her right up, like we all do with our dual cabs, load her right up, then throw 300 kilo tow ball weight on from your van. This thing will go, you're over GVM. Your tow ball weight's just throwing you right over. So it's got onboard scales. What a fantastic idea. So people can't bury their head in the sand and go, oh, I didn't know I was over GVM. This thing will tell you. Absolutely incredible. Front and rear diff locker. It's a tough looking beast. What gets me is they're going to retune it. It's still only got the 3 litre V6 turbo diesel in there. Big vehicle like that, I don't know. Does it need a small 8 in it? I don't know. Brad, if you're still on, is the 3 litre, here we go, I'll do a poll. Start a poll. Will the 3 litre turbo diesel be enough for the new Ranger Superduty? I don't know. Ranger, not Rabner. Rabner. Ranger Superduty. Here we go. Anyone who knows anything about engines, they're going to tweak the engine. You know what they do? They just keep tweaking it. Where how much can you tweak it? You can manually do a DPF burn off in it. There's a lot of good things about it. Go on a Ty. Ty's done a thing on there, guys, on it, along with a million other journalists. But I don't know. Big four, and you're going to be towing 4.5 ton, 4,500 kilogram GVM, and you still got the V6 Ford Ranger engine in there. I don't know. Why didn't they put a small V8 in it? I reckon it'll do the job, Brad reckons. It'll probably will, mate. It'll probably do the job, but the V8 needed. Rob reckons not at all. 59% saying no. I don't know. When I saw it, I thought, holy dooly, Ford's, they're going to compete with the American Rams and Chevys and that. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're competing with those big ones, and they're going to be fleet vehicles as well, guys. Tough suspension, everything's tougher diffs. It's all been beefed up so that it can tow, but it's still got the 3 litre engine in there. And as soon as they said that, I thought, oh, I don't know if that's enough. Ty, are you still on? What are your thoughts, Ty? You know more about Fords than any of us. I don't know if Ty's still on. Went down to the Ford Design Studio in thanks, Ty. I didn't know if you're still on. Went down to the Ford Design Studio in Melbourne a few weeks ago. Very high security, no phones. That green one was the first fully completed. Yeah, and that's the one that obviously they must give you a time frame. Mate, you got 20 minutes with this. Do what you want. Out you go. Next bloke comes in because everyone's doing that same vehicle. What are your thoughts, Ty, on using the same V6 turbo diesel, mate, 3 litre? Will it be twin turbo? No, I don't think so. No, it's just a single turbo. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ty. But they're tweaking it. They're just tuning it. You know what they can tune a friggin' 1 litre now and wring its neck. But I don't know. I'm old-fashioned, guys. I think get a bigger engine in there. It doesn't have to work as hard. Brad, thoughts? Brad reckons it'll do the job. It'll do the job. But a small V8 might do the job better. Okay, just purr along. Ford has the Lion 4 litre, which would be heaps better. Well, there you go, Roy. Yeah, I know. Oh, I don't know. Big Ranger, and it's got the same engine in it as the old Rangers, the smaller Rangers. I don't know. I reckon it needs a bigger engine. The Kia Tasman definitely needs a bigger engine. Anyway, I see Pat Callanan was there doing his little thing on it. He'll weasel his way in. You watch. Ford will give him a Super Duty when it comes out. paddle weasel his way in and get a free one out of him. How's the reliability on a small engine when it's flogged to the limit? Exactly right, Mike. Exactly right. That V6 engine is suspect as it is, and they reckon they're fixing it. It's had oil leaks at the turbo and all that type of stuff. So time will tell. Time will tell on that. They need to sort it out. Apparently, Phil Taylor guy's got the new Ranger, and 14,000 kilometres, he's had to have his glow plugs replaced on that 3-litre V6. Phil's had to have his glow plugs redone. 14,000 kilometres. Come on. That's still wearing in, and the glow plugs are gone on it. Anyway, new oversized engine mounts tell me that the 3-litre has been torqued up. Yeah, they said that, Ty. They said that it's so the new oversized engine mounts tell me it's been torqued up. Yeah. And as Mike said, what's the longevity of it then, mate? What's the longevity of it? I don't know. Ford's got the 4-litre. I don't know. Get a small V8. That's where Nissan went wrong with the GU Patrols. The 200 series went to a small V8, and Nissan put a pissy little 3-litre turbo diesel in there. And it used to have to wring its neck. And then the early engines were bloody called hand grenades, kept blowing up. People were wringing their neck. Bigger the engine, they just chug along. You see these big boats and ferries and big Caterpillar diesel engines and big 60 and 100 kVA generators with diesel engines. They don't work hard, guys. They just sit there going chug, 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 chug. They go all day. They go for 6 months, those generators. They just chug along, and they don't put any strain on the engine. Keep the oil up to them and the fuel, and they just keep chugging along. Whack a 5.7 Hemi in it, which is what's in the Ram. Yeah, I know. But surely Ford's got a... Well, who was it saying? They got a 4-litre there, which would have gone well in it. Ty, have Ford got another engine that would go well in that Super Duty Ranger? I got me concerns about the 3-litre. I tell you what, it's a nice-looking vehicle, guys. Big, tough-looking... It's like a Ford Ranger on steroids. It's as big as a Ranger Raptor, but it's got the turbo diesel in there. Big engine, better for towing. My Ford's extremely reliable. Jennifer, I had the old EA Falcon, and it was a piece of shit. I had an XE Falcon, great car. Had a TE Cortina, great car. And then I went to an EA Falcon, and all it did was overheat and leak oil. It was a piece of shit, that thing. And then I went and bought a Mitsubishi Magna and never looked back. I'll take a Japanese car any day. Emissions problems, Nissan didn't want to deal with it. Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, there you go, the new Ranger Super Duty. Get on YouTube, guys. Every second thing now is someone there doing a quick 10-minute review on the new Super Duty. They look like they're going to be a good thing. They did say they've reworked the engine. All they're doing is they retweak it, guys. It's the same engine, and they just bloody wringing its neck to get more out of it. If they build a smaller version of the 6.7 turbo V8, it would be great. That's the engine in my F250. Yeah, well, there you go. Hey, Bobby Ass is on. Happy birthday for yesterday, Bobby. We gave you a birthday shout out at the start of the live feed, mate. So happy birthday to Bobby. Are you home yet, mate? Are you home yet from Kenya? What an amazing place that looks like. I'm sure you and Kim had a wonderful time. Your son got married over there, mate. Absolutely fantastic. And we're all going to chip in, and we're all going to buy you a set of springs that you can clip onto the bottom of your feet so you can actually leave the ground, Bob, when you do the pogo dance with those Kenyan lads. They were getting like 1.5 meters off the ground. Bob was getting 3 millimeters. And someone said in the comment section, Bob's bouncing with them. He said, I think I almost saw daylight under Bobby's feet then. Bob wasn't getting far off the ground at all. Oh, that was good, mate. I'm sure you've had a great time. Are you home yet? I've lost track of where you are. Bobby? We'll wait for Bob to come on. Anyone got any questions, guys? That's about it from me. Any questions you got on it? Anything I said? I'm really looking forward to my power. That's going to be a project over the next 12 months or so, is building a big power station in my shed. New bench, lithium batteries, inverter, isolator switch, solar controllers, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it. I just need the money to do it now. So, yeah, Gidgy Gorilla's on. He's down in Calbar. Gidgy's out with a Raptor at the moment, having a drive around. Mike, how's things over there, mate? What's the feeling in the US at the moment? I saw something this morning. Massive protests in one city there against Trump. Massive protests. Elon Musk got up on stage at some place and got booed badly. I don't feel sorry for that bloke. He's a thing. And the other thing about Trump, 4 American soldiers got killed in a training accident in Lithuania. Lithuania? No, it wasn't Lithuania. Estonia. It might have been Lithuania or Latvia. One of those countries there anyway. I'm not quite sure. It said in a training accident they went missing and then they found them. They were killed. So Latvia or Lithuania. Anyway, that country had a big ceremony when the bodies were being relocated back to the United States. Even the Lithuanian president or prime minister was there, and all the civilians there with little American flags and that, showing their appreciation for those 4 American soldiers who were over there and unfortunately lost their lives. How, I'm not quite sure. So, Trump, nowhere to be seen. Nowhere. Where was he? Down with the Saudis in Florida at a big golfing tournament. And when they asked him, Mr. President, have you any news on the 4 American soldiers in Lithuania or Latvia, whatever the country was, I can't remember now. He goes, no, I don't know nothing about it, and wasn't interested. And it showed a thing of some other American soldiers coming back in the casket, relocated back. And who's there to greet him at the airport and show his respects? Joe Biden. It was Lithuania. Joe Biden was there as the president, watching the bodies come off the plane. Okay, very sad times. And President Biden was there. And Trump, a bloke who dodged the draft about 5 times, didn't want to go to Vietnam because he was weak as piss, called, who was the guy running to be president? I'll think of his name in a minute. Short, stocky guy. He got captured and shot down in Vietnam and captured and interrogated. And Trump called him a loser for being captured in Vietnam. This is a guy who was over there fighting, and Trump pulled the old bloody bone spurs and dodged the draft and that, so he didn't have to go and fight. And then he called someone a loser for being captured during the Vietnamese War. John McCain. John McCain, who ran for president against Bush, I think it was, for the Democrats. John McCain got shot down and obviously wouldn't have been pleasant being in the Hanoi Hilton, getting interrogated. And Trump called him a loser because he got captured. And Trump's over there playing golf with the Saudis is more important than showing his respect to his soldiers that have come back in coffins, guys. He is a friggin' disgusting man. I was a bit pro-Trump before this thing, and I've agreed with a couple of things he's done, but he has just gone rogue as far as I'm concerned. And being ex-military myself, show some respect. Show some respect, for goodness sake. I don't know why the veterans aren't, I know a lot of them are, kicking up a stink about him. How the military was so pro-Trump when he was a draft dodger back in the war, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Mike, you Americans and us are different in a lot of ways, mate. I know we're similar, but we're also very, very different. And I know one thing. I know that every time an Australian soldier come back in a coffin from Afghanistan, the Prime Minister was there paying his respects. It didn't matter what side of the fence they were on. Our prime ministers were always there to show their respect to a fallen soldier. And Trump's down playing golf with the Saudis. Sickening. Absolute bullshit. Anyway, it's not my country, but being an ex-soldier, Mike, I frown upon that. I think it's poor form. Absolute poor form. And I'll tell you what I am pissed off the most about is the koalas, guys. That's pissed me off. It has really pissed me off. Hit me with some questions. I've been going an hour 45. I'm out of things to say. Hit me with some questions. I can't bring anyone on. I'm not on StreamYard, guys. Next Wednesday night, join me before I forget. Jan from Shady Gear is going to be on Wednesday night, guys. And we're going to show you some photos. And Jan's going to tell us all about how Shady Gear came to be and some of the challenges she faces running a business in this country and that now. So, and Jan's a lovely person. Join us Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, which is Eastern time now. I can say that. There's no daylight savings. So 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, join me and Jan for a jibber jabber on Wednesday night. I only go for an hour and a half, being a weeknight. But Jan's going to tell us all about, it pisses Mike off. Mike's an ex-US Marine, if you don't know, guys. Mike Blakely over in Colorado, ex-US Marine. And it pisses Mike. I bet it does Mike. And it should piss off everyone who's served in the United States Defence, mate. You call them Defence Force, the United States military. It should piss you off. That's poor form. He's got, and I'll say it, the only person he cares about or gives a shit about is himself. He's a narcissist. Everything revolves around him. And anyone around him has to blow wind up his ass to inflate his big ego. And that's what he's like. I'll tell you now, mate, I've never said this before, Mike, and no offense against you. And I think Kev in Minnesota, I haven't heard from Kev. I bagged Trump and I haven't heard from Kev again. But, mate, I just disappointed with the United States. I really am. I was always been pro-American and that. Trump has turned me against, he's turned me against America, mate. Nothing against you, Mike. I know a lot of American people are good people. But boy, oh boy, I'd sit here shaking my head, mate. He's just put tariffs on everyone except the Russians. Like, come on. What's he doing there? When's the tremor arrive? I don't know, Ty. I wouldn't mind one of those tremors. If you know someone at Ford, Ty, tell them there's a diddly donk up in far north Queensland who wants to borrow a tremor for 6 months, tow a caravan with it, go to Cape York with it, and put it through its paces up here in far north Queensland and promote the new Ford Tremor. And then I might even buy it off them after I finish with it. If I don't swamp it up in Cape York. No, I wouldn't do that. I'd treat it like it's my own. Those new Ford Everest Tremors, guys, they bloody look nice. They look nice. So, I don't know. You get that Super Duty. I'd seriously, if I was going to spend that money on a Super Duty, which are going to be about the 100K mark, I reckon, then I probably wouldn't put a canopy on. I'd probably you'd have to spend the money and put a decent aluminium canopy on there, guys, for side drawers and all that. I don't think I'd go the tub again with what I've got. I like the idea of having a canopy, side opening, lights, easy access to your electrical system, to your fridge and all that, upright fridge. I'd probably do that next but it's all that. It'll never happen. When I win the lotto, it will. I'd certainly put a big, beautiful Norweld canopy on it and have it all decked out in Enerdrive gear. And, yeah, if you won the lotto, that's exactly what you do. Who thinks Bucks? No, I haven't, Ty. I don't have the money for that, mate. Well, 53. So that's 53% of people reckon no. But what are they going to, Ty, I don't know if you answered that. Yeah, I don't know. I still think it needs a bigger engine. They're just tweaking it. How far can you tweak an engine before it starts becoming unreliable? I don't know. I'm not a engine engineer. I do not know. Be interesting to see, and he'll be on there soon. It'll be interesting to see what John Cadogan has to say about that. And everything about the Superduty looks really good, guys. Tough suspension, bloody, it's a good looking vehicle. My concern is the engine. And John Cadogan, he carries on a bit, tries to be funny and all that. I wish he'd just cut a lot of the bullshit out on his channel and just talk fact. He's an engineer, very, very knowledgeable man. Be interesting to hear what John has to say about it. Yeah. And no doubt, friggin' Pat Callanan with his friggin' stupid hat, he'll be driving around in one next year when they come in. You watch. You bet your left one. He was promoting the Ford Tremor too. Anyway, Pat will promote anything if it's given to him for free. That's the way he rock and rolls. He's one of the big boys, and it's all about the money for them guys. Ty, tell Ford I'll do it for nothing, mate. No nothing. Send one to Cairns. I'll pick it up, have it for 6 months, and then hand it back, like Ronnie Dahl did with that Grenadier, the Ineos Grenadier. Ronnie was given that, and they said, test it out, Ronnie, promote it for us. Good and bad points. I'd do the same with the new, either the Tremor or the new Super Duty. They'll go, Buck. They'll go, who is this diddly donk up there with 6,000 subscribers and he wants a car off us? Give yourself an uppercut, they'll be saying, Ford. Anyway, I reckon I'd do a better job than Pat. He's got camera crews and all that with him. He's just, I don't know. I'm off him. I used to like him when he had a Nissan Patrol. Then he just goes to, then he went, where'd he go? Went to V-Dub Amarok, then to Ford. He just goes to anything. He'll go to anything that bloody gives him money. Do you think Graham from Ford actually paid for his Land Cruiser or just another feeble promo gift to him? No, I don't think he paid for it, mate. I don't watch them anymore. Rob, I don't watch them at all. I did see something on Facebook the other day and Graham's going, went to the dark side or something, and it was all black. Yeah, you could tell it was a Land Cruiser. Mate, they're all giving that shit. I'll tell you now, when young Kaido from Drifter was tagging along with him, Luke told me this. That was costing Luke $10,000 an episode to have Kaido tag along. And for them a couple of times during a one hour show to mention Drifter Stockton, that was costing Luke 10 grand for Kaido to tag along. Hope Luke doesn't mind me saying that, but when you're a business and they want businesses on board, it bloody, yeah, you pay through the arse. They don't do nothing for nothing, those guys. They're all about the money. Don't you worry about that. So I was probably given to them, and let me tell you, they charge the companies a lot of money to promote. I've got another story about another one of the big boys on the block, but I'm not going to say it because I don't think the person who told me the story would want it out on the internet. But yeah, that's why I no longer watch them either. They're mercenaries, guys. They're absolute mercenaries. It's all about this. How about a lotto syndicate for the community? Yeah, I can't be bothered to organise. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? Winning the 100 mil, the community winning the 100 mil. How good would that be? They're all wankers. I don't watch any of them anymore, 6 knots. I don't watch Pat Callanan anymore, All for Adventure. I used to love watching All for Adventure. And then I paid for, this is a long time ago, I paid for their, what's the one you pay for it and you get extra stuff. And then that one there was even worse than their TV stuff. It was like everything they did was just a big setup. This is blowing up. This is gone. You come around the corner and Simon's boat's flipped and the quad's in the bottom of the river, a croc-infested river. And next thing, it's a big rescue mission. So, but you don't see it. You go, it's full of shit. It's full of shit. That Chevy, when they flipped the Chevy, you could see that they'd already had a practice run, and then they got that wrong when Jesse flipped that Chevy. You could see the big skid mark up the thing where they'd already had a practice run. They're full of shit. No, not them either, Alan. I don't watch them anymore either. They're gone the same way. All about the money. I don't mind bloody little YouTube channels, getting something for free to promote it and show people what's out there. I've got none of it, but these guys charge big money behind the scenes to promote stuff, guys. All these ones on TV and all that, it's a big business to them. It really is. Ex-detective car from Pickles. It's been tinkered with. Very nice. Jennifer. Okay. Yeah, Unleashed, Nathan. Yeah, I subscribed once to Unleashed, never again. It was just everything on there was just set up bullshit, mate. Fake, set up, all staged. Absolutely. And I thought, it wasn't a bad watch, but when they just sit there and they think you're a dill. The boat flipped and the quad's in the bottom of the river. The quad that was probably given to them for nothing, and they go and sink it in a river, and then but it's not on camera. And then Jason comes around and here's Simon standing on an upturned boat. Oh, what's going on? And no, it's all staged. And I can't watch them anymore. All of it. Bullshit. And 4-wheel drive 24/7 is it's just a big adathon. It is an absolute adathon, and I haven't watched them for a couple of years. Every now and then you see something come up on YouTube, a little 2-minute clip or something. I might watch that. But yeah, I used to love Graham Cahill back in the day when him and Ruthie were on 4-wheel drive action, when they used to go into every month, the magazine had come out and it had the DVD inside. Remember that? And I used to love going to the news agents and go, oh, the new 4-wheel drive action magazine's in. I'd always take that to work to read and then watch the DVD. And it was Sean, Graham, Jamie Hazelden, Ruthie. I used to love it back in those days. And yeah, they were sponsored by Adventure Kings and all that type of stuff, or Tigers 11 and all that type of stuff. But now Sean's taken it over and he runs it as a business. Fair enough. He's got to make a living, but everything on there is just all about sponsorship. And those people that tag along with them pay big money to do that. Andrew St. Pierre White. Haven't been watching Andrew. I've kind of haven't gone off Andrew. I just haven't been watching him that much. I watch a lot of war documentaries and that, guys. I'm out of the camping and 4-wheel drive scene has been done to death. It has been done to death, and I've lost interest in it. Going out filming camping trips and that now, guys, I've lost interest. I really have. We're going to go to Cooktown soon. I'll run the camera around and give you a look at Cooktown and that. But running out filming camping trips and that now, like, how many of them do you want to see? How many people do you want to see in a caravan doing their trip around Australia? It's been done to death. Absolutely done to death. Yeah, Ruthie is a top bloke. He's a bloody nice guy. I met Ruthie once in real life, and he just come across as a real genuine bloke. Saw Graham K. I love listening to Graham when he's at the 4-wheel drive shows. He's a really interesting guy, and he gets up on stage and he captivates you. Graham's a fantastic speaker, tells some good stories and all that. Graham's fantastic. I don't get me wrong, guys, Sean and Graham, I don't dislike the guys. It's just become too commercialised. But when you see Graham at the 4-wheel drive shows, you go Graham, and he says, g'day, mate. He's a down-to-earth sort of bloke. Gets up, tells some funny stories. He's good. Even Sean at the 4-wheel drive show. They get up and they tell some good stories. Jason and Simon even. But their shows are just too commercialised for me. Ty said that's why I don't film my trips, Buck. Takes the attention away from the fan. Yeah, I know, mate. And that's why I threw my own channel in, mate. It was causing a bit of angst between me and Roz. It all become about the camera, and that's why I threw my old channel in, mate. And the rest of that trip, when I go down to a beach or a nice place and I was looking at it through the Great Ocean Road and that, looking at it through your own eyes instead of a GoPro, it was way better. You get to appreciate it a lot more. You really do. So, yeah, running the camera around can take the shine off it. Who else was there the other day talking about I was watching someone and they're going on about how hard it was filming and all else. Yeah, it is. It is hard. Oh, Timmy Bates. It was Tim Bates. Tim hit the wall too, guys, and Tim's just gone back to a normal job now. And he said, yeah, I'll film again down the track, guys. But it was all getting too much for Tim, I think. The money he was spending to go out to do the filming, the money you get off YouTube doesn't near cover it. It doesn't near cover it. So Tim said, and he replied to someone, he said, mate, I've got bills to pay. He said, I'm just working a normal job at the moment and I haven't got time to go out filming. And Timmy had a bloody lot bigger channel than what I've got, guys. And I think Timmy hit the wall there at one stage too. He did a live feed the other night. So, yeah, Tim may be at the Legends for Charity event in 2026. I hope he comes to that. It'd be good. But Tim's I don't think Tim likes big crowds, guys. If I've never met the guy in real life, but Tim comes across as a guy who just likes his own company. That's why he's always doing solo traveling. But it'd be good if Tim gets there. I don't know if Tim likes big crowds. I don't blame him for that either. That live chat with Tim was great. Yeah, he's an interesting guy to talk to. Very serious sort of bloke, Timmy, isn't he? He's a very serious guy. Keeps to the point, doesn't go down rabbit holes like I do. But I don't know. A lot of them Victorians, it's all about the high country. It's like there's other parts of Australia, everyone, than the high country. That's all they rave on about, the high country, the high country. Yeah, it might be fantastic down there, but there's a lot of other places in Australia as well. So tell you whose trip I am enjoying, guys, Cam and Tiff, wild touring. Cam and Tiff, I love watching their channel. And, yeah, what's good, they're getting the kids are getting involved in it too. Chloe and Brody, and they're making it a real family thing. And it's fantastic. And Cam's on this trip now, and he's not on banging on about products and all that type of stuff. He's just out there doing the trip with his family, and they're enjoying it. The other day, they were digging up, him and Chloe and Tiff were digging up razorfish, which were weird-looking shellfish with a big point on, digging them up, opening them up, and like a scallop, and scraping it out, crumbing them up and eating them and that. And it's fantastic. They're down the Eyre Peninsula at the moment, down in South Australia. Looks pretty dry down there from what I can see. So really looking forward to that. If you're not watching that, wild touring, guys, Cam and Tiff on their lap of Australia. And I caught up with Cam and Tiff at the Shelter Brewery in Bustleton last year in November. And Cam said, Buck, when we get over to far north Queensland, really want you to come out with a van and have a camp with us. So down the track, you'll probably see me on one of Cam's clips having a camp, me and Roz having a camp with him and Tiff and that. And Cam got a freezy machine where you put and it freezes it up like a slushy machine. And I said, Cam, when you get over to far north Queensland, I want to see frozen margaritas coming out of that thing. And he said, job's on, Buck. So you'll see me and Cam and having a couple of frozen margaritas out of his slushy machine when he gets over to far north Queensland. So, yeah, Cam making bloody icy slushies drinks out of the back of the four-wheel drive. I want one. Yeah, that could be a catch. That could get messy. You pour all this orange juice and stuff into it to turn it into a slush puppy, and then next thing you know, you got vodka and all that going in. It could get messy if you're not measuring it out. So that could be a trap for Cam down the track. So I dare say we'll be getting some margarita mix and some tequila. And what else do you put in there? And bloody, yeah, getting some frozen margaritas going in there. That'd be all right, wouldn't it? Buying one of those for home and having a frozen margarita night. And if you're having a barbecue or whatever, just have it set up in the shed. And if people want a frozen margarita, they just pour it out of the slushy machine. Yeah, very messy, Buck. We should try it at the mates camping event. Yeah, we'll see how we go. That'll be good. We should buy one, Ty. You're a millionaire. Get out and buy one of those slushy machines, and I'll bring a bottle of tequila, and we'll do it down at the mates trip. Old Ty, he bloody set one up in the back of the F-250, mate. Ty sent me some video of his house and that the other day with all his solar and all that. Geez, that's interesting. That's what I want to do in my shed, Ty, something like that. Have a big portable power station run by maybe 300 amp batteries joined in parallel to give me 600 amps, and then have inverters mounted on the wall and solar controllers and just a plug and play type thing. That'd be fantastic, mate. Go out and get a couple of 300 watt solar panels so you can keep everything charged up when the sun's out. That's what I'm going to do. Kane, what about now? I don't know, mate. I've lost track with him. I don't know what's going on with him anymore. Kane, I wouldn't have a clue, mate. Would not know. Anyway, guys, you don't need to know this, but I'm busting for a piss and I'm going to go. It's been 2 hours. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, our thoughts are with Brad and his family, the loss of Theresa. That is sad news, everyone. Really, really sad news. Bloody hell. It's shit. It's a shit go, isn't it? Life's not fair sometimes. So, Brad, if you ever see this, mate, our thoughts are with you and the family, mate, in these tough times. We're thinking of you. Stay strong. I know it's hard losing your wife. Dear, oh dear. Losing your wife and your kid or one of your kids, guys. It doesn't get any worse than that, does it? Bloody terrible, especially when it's, when it's before time. So anyway, it's sad. And I know Rob did a live feed the other night and it was hard. Hey, John, how are you? John's on over in Oregon, everyone. Two down, no, 2 to go. Mike, my back teeth are floating, mate. I've got to, and I haven't got anything to do it in except my coffee cup, and it ain't going in there. I need a tinkle, and I can't just run in, have one, come back. It takes me 10 minutes to have a piss now, guys, because of me prostate. So, Buck finishing early. Yeah, I know. A couple of good footy games this half, guys. Paulie Martin's Manly are up. Who did I say Manly's playing? The Storm, wasn't it? Yeah, Manly and Melbourne Storm. Great game. That's the early game. And then I think the 6 o'clock game tonight is the Bulldogs and Knights. That will be a good game too. Go the Knights. Russ, if you're watching, go the Knights. The Doggies. Doggies are coming good. They're a good team, aren't they? Very, very good team. Penrith is struggling, guys. Penrith's having a bad year so far when the Cowboys can beat them. So anyway, have a goodie, Buck. Yeah, I'm going to go and have another cup of coffee, guys, I think. Hope you've enjoyed the live feed today. Knights suck, Jamie Fulton reckons. Jamie will get knocked out by all the Knights fanboys at the camping with mates. That's what I need, Jennifer, a scrunnel funnel. Hang on. Newts gave me this for the Caravan, but the thing is the Jayco Caravan hasn't got the screw thing on it. So if I had a bucket now, I could just sit here like that and talk to you and no one would know what I was doing. No one would know that I was having a tinkle into a scrunnel funnel. Speaking of scrunnel funnels, I'm glad you said that, Jennifer. Now, that's an idea, guys. If I had a bucket now, I could do a 4-hour marathon by myself and not have to leave the chair because of the scrunnel funnel. Newts has sent some scrunnel funnels over to Ukraine, everyone. And this is funny. He cammed them up because the Ukrainians are filling up their vehicles by jerry can and that. So Newts has sent a heap of scrunnel funnels over to Ukraine for the Ukraine soldiers. Camouflaged, painted them up, camouflaged them. And it goes, he says to me, he goes, I hope one of them doesn't get captured by the Russians and then they parade it through Red Square in Moscow as a war trophy. As you know, the Russians are capturing Bushmasters and Western Abrams tanks and that and putting them in Red Square as war trophies. Look what we captured over in Ukraine, all this Western gear. So Newts is worried that they're going to capture a Ukrainian soldier in possession of a scrunnel funnel and paraded in Red Square as a war trophy. Oh, shit, I laughed when I read that. I absolutely pissed myself laughing there. But good on Newts. Newts sending over some scrunnel funnels to the Ukrainian soldiers so they can refill their vehicles up out of jerry cans. Good on you, mate. Bloody absolutely fantastic. What an absolute champion bloke. And if you do want to, that's the water one for your Caravan, guys. If anyone, I haven't pissed in that one. if anyone does want that scrunnel funnel, that blue one, and you've got a Caravan, Brad, or with a screw, with your water fillers have got a screw thread, that scrunnel will go in there, and then what you can do is get a couple of water jerrys, and you can top your Caravan water tanks up using water jerrys, which may be an option sometimes if you're not anywhere near a hose or whatever. You might have to go into town, top a couple of water jerrys up, okay, bring them back out to the campground or whatever, and then you can just throw 40 litres of water into your Caravan water tank. So if anyone wants that blue scrunnel, send me a message to Mr. Buckaroony. If you think you can use it for your Caravan, anyone, I'll post it to, because I've got no use for it except pissing under this desk on the next live feed. I don't want to do that. I'd rather someone use it for their van. My Jayco hasn't got screw-in water fillers, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd just put it in the van. So anyway, really looking forward to, you should see my little Blue Eddy Charger 1 come in next week, guys. And I'm going to do some experimenting. I wish I knew more about 12-volt stuff. I'm really getting interested in it now. And I want to go into Bunnings, get a new bench set up in the shed with a nice wooden top and another shelf underneath. Put my Jackery on there, big 300 or 300 amp lithium batteries, and then the plywood backing, and screw up the inverter and have like a big power station set up in my shed with solar charging and all that. I reckon it's going to be fantastic. So this little Charger 1, I'm going to do some experimenting with that, and that boosts it up. I can put power into my Jackery rather than 100 watts, sorry. It boosts it up to 560 watts. So I can put more power into my Jackery, which will get it further through the night if I have power outages after a cyclone and all that. The next day, I can use my generator, can't I? But during the night, you don't want to have generators going. Anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Oh, no, it's subsided now. I might a couple more minutes. That's the other thing too, with this prostate problem. I'll be sitting there and then all of a sudden it's like, I've got to go to the toilet and I've got to go now. But if I hold on a bit, it just subsides and goes away. And then it hits me again like a ton of bricks. It's Russia might be impressed and order a heap of them. Yeah, Newts might get a big order of Vladimir Putin. Say, Newts, I want 300,000 scrunnels for the Russian military. And Newts will clean up. Wouldn't it be good if the Americans got on board? Mike Blakely, or John, anyone in the Marines, in the American military? I don't know if your vehicle's in there. We had, they were called a filler neck assembly on the metal jerry cans in the army on our Land Rovers. There was a flexible, and it used to have the jerry can clip on one end. We clip that onto the jerry can, take the lid off, clip it onto the metal jerry can, and fill the Land Rovers up with that. I don't know if the new G-Wagons and all that have got a screw-in thread. Wouldn't it be good if Newts could get a contract for scrunnels with the Australian Army? How good would that be? I don't know if their vehicles have got screw-in filler caps. I'm not sure. I'm sure Newts has looked into that. I carry 2 7-gallon jerry cans with a siphon. A lot of 12-volt siphon things now, mate. A lot of people, as they get old, don't like lifting jerrys up and actually use a 12-volt thing to siphon the water in or the fuel, whatever it may be. Donkey dicks is what so John, you's had them too. Yeah, we call them. They were like a flexible, clipped onto the jerry can, the metal jerry can, and in you go. Filler neck assembly was their proper name in the Australia. They used to call them donkey dicks. Oh dear. I haven't heard them call that, I must admit. That must be an American thing. Steve, Buck, why don't you run? Why not run from your power station straight out of the inverter into the house? No need for a Jackery. Yeah, I'd have to go 10 to 15 amps. I'm buying an amphibian, so I can go 10 to 15 amps. Well, that's another one too, but I've got the Jackery there, mate. I might as well use it. Use the Jackery and then use the lithium battery power station when I get it up and running to feed to feed into the Badgerie, and then the Badgerie just keeps feeding via the 15 amp thing into the generator switch inside. So anyway, there's a few different options for me. If the Badgerie gets really low, I can power it up using a 2000 watt inverter. The 700 watt inverter wouldn't do it, as you know. Switch the 2000 watt inverter on, pump 240 volts into it, and I can charge that Badgerie from empty in 90 minutes, okay? Or I can use that little charger one and trickle 560 watts an hour into it. Don't know if the 560 watts would keep up with the house, but it would certainly just keep that power coming in. So there's the option there. It's a lot cheaper way, isn't it, than buying Badgerie batteries. Buy some 200 or 300 amp lithium batteries, hook them up in parallel, and then pump that power into your Badgerie or your Blue Eddy, whatever kind of power station you got. So anyway, I reckon in 12 months' time, I'm going to have a Mickey Mouse bloody power station set up in my shed, guys. That's my new project, but it's going to cost me a bit of money. I can't rush out and do it all in one hit. All right, I'm going. See you later. Going for another piss brew, and it's raining. So I'm not going to be packing the Caravan away. I don't want to pack that away wet. And this afternoon, that means I can't mow the lawn either, doesn't it? There is some good news about it raining. I can't mow the lawn, and I've got 2 footy games on this afternoon. You beauty. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed today. And the bloody koala thing has pissed me off. That's poor form. Who allows that shit to happen? Who allows that to happen? I'm sure a lot of you here all agree with me on that. Poor little things. They're on the endangered. You know, their numbers are dwindling, and here we are killing them with bulldozers. Come on, we can do better than that. We can do better, but we're not allowed to shoot crocodiles. They can eat you, and their numbers are out of control. What a load of shit. Sums this country up sometimes. Anyway, get out and vote when election time's coming, and have your say. Whoever you vote for, that is your business. Slacking has come on right at the end. Top of the evening, ladies and Bruces. Just got home from Autumn's little Autumn, the granddaughter, Autumn's birthday party. Is she 1 year old now, Mark? Hope you're all well. Good on you, Mark. Little Autumn's bloody 1 year old already. How time has flown there. Hope you had a good time. Anyway, Mark, we just talked a lot of shit today. A lot of different subjects today, guys. I might see you next Sunday morning. Roz and I got to get up to Cooktown. It's still pretty warm. We've got to wait for the rain to piss off, and then we're going to go up to Cooktown for a week. The Lionsden Hotel. Going to get the Caravan out. It's coming. Give us time. Camping season's just around the corner, and Roz and I want to get that Caravan out and really enjoy it. See you later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, eh? Goodbye. Take care, eh?